Oh, man. When my aunt and cousin were here, we left on Saturday night from my mom's house, and she said, well, we'll see you tomorrow. I said, well, I don't know if I'll make it tomorrow or not. She said, but you're the pastor. I said, well, you know, I probably will, but there's always a doubt. This morning we're talking about, are you thirsty this morning? Are you thirsty? And if you were in Jeff's class this morning, you feel free to go. Brother Jeff went over this. I did this message 4 weeks ago. And I stay ahead. I'm already, this is the way I am. I don't procrastinate. And I thought, oh my goodness, I thought he had his new book today, but I guess that may be next week. But anyways, Jesus was on his way to Galilee, and he went through Samaria on his way. There's one thing I didn't have with Ed reading, I should have. I want you to look at it. It says that Jesus, it says in verse, well, if you're there, I'm going to be in John chapter 4, as he read. It says he must, in verse 4, and he must needs go through Samaria. Just think about that as we talk as I preach this morning. He must needs go through Samaria. A very unique verse that also coincides with the last verse he read. Jesus said, I am he. Well, anyways, Jesus was on his way to Galilee and he went through Samaria on his way. And the Jews had no dealings with the Samaritans. The Jews thought to themselves that they were better than the Samaritans. Samaritans were what some would look at, they weren't completely Jewish, so therefore the Jews were pretty prejudiced against them, racist, I guess you could say. When Jesus saw this woman sitting in Jacob's well, he knew that she was a Samaritan. He knows all things, but he knew. And he also knew that she had a need of salvation, so he spoke to her about the living water. He must needs go through Samaria. And this, the thing I was thinking about this morning, I mentioned in class, Jesus knew that everything that he did, or 90% of what he did, was going to be pinned down in the Bible. So he was showing, I think he was showing us this because there was a reason he needed to go. If it just be one person that would find Christ, he must needs go through Samaria. And he knew that she was a Samaritan. He also knew that she had a need of salvation. So he spoke to her about the living water. Jesus basically was witnessing to her and offering her salvation. He said in verse 13, as Brother Ed read, Jesus answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. Verse 14, but whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give thee shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give thee shall be within thee a well of water springing up in everlasting life. Jesus knew about her, and he knew about her that she'd been married 5 times, and the guy that she's with right now was not her husband. This is a perfect example to us to know that Jesus knows all about us. And nothing is too difficult for us, and we need to receive this living water or salvation. The thing that I was thinking about this morning as we were in class, Brother Jeff brought up a good point. I said, well, at least you didn't give out all my points this morning. But the thing I was thinking about while he was in class is Jesus and his disciples had the disciples were Jewish. They didn't want to be around Samaritans. Samaritans were kind of like the ugly cousin, so to speak, or whatever. And they didn't want to be around them. They didn't want to have no dealings with them. But Jesus, he did a couple things that Brother Jeff pointed out, and I had in my message this morning. He wanted to try and break that racial problem that they had. He sent them into Samaria to buy meat. They were going to go to a person that they feel was a half-breed. They were going to purchase meat from him, and they were going to have this to eat. That was tough for them. And then when Jesus comes back at the end of the story, they were there and they said, "Why is he talking to this woman? Why, at that point in time, women were a lower life form, I guess you could say, or they were the weaker vessel, and why would Jesus be talking to this woman? She was a Samaritan, and also, a Samaritan also was a woman. But the thing is, Jesus said, I must needs go through Samaria. He knew that there was going to be a woman there, because he knows all things. He knew that she needed Christ, because he knows all things. And you know what? Jesus gave me, God gave me, I feel the Holy Spirit give me this message this morning because He knew who was going to be here. He knew who was going to need something this morning. He knew that you may not have the living water that He was talking about this morning. You may not have that. This lady was looking for something tangible. Just like in the last chapter. When Nicodemus came to him, he said, you know, can I enter a second time in my mother's womb and be born again? And Jesus said, no. You were born of the water, and now you were born of the flesh, now you were born of the Spirit. He was looking for something tangible. He wanted, and that's how people are today. They want remember, one of the main reasons they don't believe and they don't accept Christ is because they want something that they can see, that they can hold, that they can grab, that they can, set on a shelf or whatever. That's what they want. Because they lack one thing. Faith. Faith. I told you, I think it was last week or week before. And it's simple faith. If you could ever believe in anybody, you could believe in God, you could believe in Jesus. It's just simple. It's just simple. Jesus said, if you have the Son, you have life. So you know that you're saved. But yet, we talked about this morning and some pretty good discussion this morning. What is it? Why don't people are looking for something? People are looking for something to fulfill their life. Maybe it's that that's why I think, in my own opinion, I think that's why a lot of people that are in the spotlight get married several times. Because they go from one person to the next person. They're trying to find that thing that just fulfills them. That won't get old, won't get dull, won't get just get used to it. They want to find something that will take care of them and that will fulfill all of their dreams. They don't find Jesus, they'll never find that. They go from husband to wife, to this job, to that job, to this relationship, to that relationship, because they're trying to find something. This woman was no different. She came to the well at noon, which was kind of significant, maybe because most of us do our chores in the morning, but she was there at noon. It wasn't just chance. Jesus knew when she was going to be there. His disciples, they would have walked 15 miles out of the way to go around Samaria if they had to. I mean, they didn't want to go through it. They didn't want to deal with those people. Those people were lower life forms to them. They thought they were better than them. Jesus said, I must go. And thanks be to God that He did go. Because this lady needed something that Jesus had. She had 5 husbands. And the one that she had now was not even her husband. So you see how she was going from relationship to relationship. She was trying to find that one thing that would fulfill her, that would make her feel complete. And she hadn't found it, but she found Jesus. Let's go with number 1. Do you need refreshing? In Acts chapter 27, verse 3, the next day, we touched inside on it, and Julius courteously entreated Paul and gave him liberty to go unto his friends and refresh himself. God can give you the strength to make it in this life. Even though there are so many things pushing against you. Pushing against you. Sometimes we just need a time to reflect on the things that God has done for us. Sometimes we take it for granted and overlook what He's done and on a daily basis. On a daily basis. I've told you this before. When you almost get into an accident, I believe that God had His hand upon your life. And we take it for granted sometimes. If you try to and you know what? The closer we get to Christmas, the worse it's going to be on Rosedale Highway. Why in the world would they tear up Rosedale Highway this time of year? Why would they do that? I'm telling you, it's crazy. You go down there, some of the spots, some of the road, there's no lines. And people drive like there's no lines. I mean, I'm just thinking, you know what? We need to accept the fact that God takes care of us on a daily basis. God is so good to us, and He's with us every hour. I hope that your life is in the situation and your relationship with God is in the spot to where if you had to stop and call on Him right now, you could. or whenever you're facing a tragedy in your life, in your family, you're in a situation as far as your Christianity, as far as your relationship with God, as you could stop and say, God, I need your help right now. And if, you know, figuratively, if God would say, I'm here, go ahead. That's what you need to be. God, it is God that gives us stamina so that we can make it against all the world's ungodliness. There are so many distractions in life that sometimes it's hard to stay focused on what is right. Sometimes it's hard to stay focused on the prize, on the main thing. Focused on the things of Christ. We need to ask God to show us His will for our lives. We need to get a burden to do His will. God will give you stability so that once you find His will, you'll be able to stand strong. Stand strong. You say, well, I don't know what God wants me to do. Ask Him. Well, you know, it's not like He's going to call me or He's going to send me a text or I can see it on Facebook what God wants me to do. You ask Him, He will show it to you. I guarantee it. He will show it to you. And if you ask Him this, God, I want you to show me what you want me to do as far as church is concerned, as far as being a Christian. I want you to show me what you want me to do, and I want you to make it so real to me so I won't miss it. I want you to open that door so wide so I'll be able to walk through it. And God will. But we need to want His will upon our lives. The devil will fight you and try to get you to do his bidding. Yep, he will. Every time we sit down and play a board game, the devil fights me. He wants me to do his bidding. Whenever we sit down and play a game, this last, what was it? I don't know what the day Jacob came over. What day was that? Thanksgiving. Oh, Thanksgiving. I don't remember if it was Thanksgiving. It was all been a blur since Wednesday afternoon. Or when I left here Wednesday night. Came over and I said, they were explaining the game. I said, okay, now only thing I need to know is how can I win this game? And they all looked at me and said, well, you can't cheat at this game. Oh, I'm not asking now how I can cheat. But you don't need to tell me that. I'll figure that out. But I want to know how I can win this game. And we were playing the game where it's called, we have all the different...
Pit.
We're playing pit. And there was 8 of us at the table. We had 7 spoons in the middle. If you get your whole handful of corn or rice or whatever, you got a spoon. I thought I had it. I grabbed a spoon, and then everybody else grabbed a spoon. Whoever didn't grab a spoon didn't get any points. And so I lay him down. Rice, corn, rice. I said, I don't have it, fellas. Oh, I said, they okay, well, let's just slide that time. Well, then another time I didn't have it, but I thought somebody else grabbed for a spoon, so I grabbed a spoon, and then everybody grabbed a spoon. And he said, what'd you grab a spoon for? What do you got? I kept nothing. I thought Mackenzie, I think she said, I thought she grabbed a spoon. She said, I didn't grab a spoon. Well, you look like you did. Look, you were going for it. And every now and then after that, I kept reaching in there, and nobody would ever take the bait. Like I took the bait twice, you know. But you know what? I wasn't trying to. The devil every now and then wants me to do his bidding. He wants me to win. I know he wants me to win, and sometimes I have to win. But anyways, we'll go on back to this. You don't have to listen to the devil. There you go. That comes right to me. He does not want you. He does not have power over you. But sometimes, man, he puts something out there just, ooh, man. He doesn't have power over you. He cannot. And you know another thing, he can't read your mind. He doesn't know what you're thinking. He does not control, or he should not be controlling your life. If he is controlling your life this morning, let's see a show of hands. Who in this room is the devil's controlling your life? Raise up your hand. Because we're going to have an altar call right then. Nobody the devil's controlling your life. That's good. You are stronger than him, and and with God's help, you will overcome whatever the devil puts in front of you. Well, number 2, you need reinforcements. Oh man, sometimes we do. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 28, verse 20, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. Jesus is our reinforcement. But you know what? There's power, there's strength in numbers. There's strength in numbers. I remember, if you remember this, some of you won't remember, some of you will. Jimmy's Arcade used to be down on I think it was California Avenue. I was in there with a friend of mine, and he was talking to this girl. He was flirting with this girl that I'm playing this game. And I said, dude, you don't know her, you don't know anything about her, you just better watch yourself, because there's a lot of people here that, you know. And he wouldn't quit. And so finally, the boyfriend walked up and said, you know, had a little confrontation with him. I'm trying to play this game. Gallagher, I was always getting a high score. And I knew he was going to goof me up, so I just stopped and turned around and said, what's going on? He said, the guy said, I don't have a problem with you, I have a problem with this guy right here. It's my girlfriend. And so my friend, being a tough guy that he is, said, well, let's just take this out in the parking lot. Love myself. This is going to turn out bad for me. He's gotten beat up several times before. This is going to turn out bad for me. So I followed him. He said, let's go, Gary. I said, okay, I'm going. I don't want to go. We walked out there, and that guy was out there and 10 of his friends. And my friend, and if I named him, you would know him. Most of you would know him. So we won't name him this morning because he's not here. But I walked up to him and said, hey, what are we going to do? The devil got us out there. The devil wanted me to get beat up. I know he did. So you know what I did? I said, you know what? You're on your own. I almost had the high score. Have a good time. I turned around, walked right back in the arcade. He runs back. He runs up and said, hey man, I can't fight all these guys by yourself. I said, me and you both can't fight all these guys by ourselves. We need, that guy had his reinforcements. We had nothing. We had each other. I said, we're not going to do it. So I walked over, I turned around, walked over to the guy and said, hey dude, we're not going to fight you and all your buddies. My friend's going to apologize to you right now. He walked over right the next to me. He's going to apologize for flirting with your girlfriend, and this is going to be over. And so he apologized. We walked back in. He said, man, I wish you wouldn't make me do that. I said, it's either that or you're going to get killed. And I said, I'm not going to go down with you. We need to know that God is with us, but sometimes we need others with you too. There is strength in numbers. If we all make up our minds and we're truly thirsty, then we will overcome. Are you thirsty this morning? Do you need this living water? Are you willing to fight? Are you going to hang out with those that want to stop and give up and throw in the towel? Or are you really thirsty this morning? Why is it when things get tough, some run and hide? I don't know about you, but I'm thirsty. I'm going to stay, and I'm going to stay there and fight. It's a relief to know that God will help me. You know, the same God that helped Noah build the ark, the same God that delivered the children of Israel over the Red Sea, the same God that helped David kill Goliath, is the same God that we have today that sits at the right hand of the throne of the Father this morning, right now, this very second. And you know what? He helped them, He can help us. He gave this lady living water. He said, I must need to go through Samaria. Because if we'd ask him right then, because there's a lady, she's going to be sitting on Jacob's well when I get there, and she's going to need salvation. She's going to need this living water. That's why I need to go. And you know what the disciples said? It's just one person. Why one person? You know what? Just one more. Just one more. Just one more. Because you know what? He said, I know that she has some influence, if you were to ask him, on the town, on the village, the place where she lived, the city she lived, and she's going to go and she's going to tell these people about me, and others are going to be saved because of that. If God could do it then, He can do it now. He doesn't need us, but He likes to have us to fight for Him and to bring others to Him. Fight and stay thirsty and never say quit. I used to hate that whenever I entered a sporting event. I remember I entered soccer. It looked all cool, you know, in my front yard, we were kicking this ball into the net. Then we got out on the soccer field. I was in 4th or 5th grade. And he said, I saw the net way down there. I said, I started walking down there. I figured, we're just going to practice. And he said, no. For the first 4 or 5 practices, we just ran up and down the field. Nobody had a ball. The coach was a young college guy who just bounced the ball off his knee, we're just running in, fellas, running. I got home about the 3rd day, and I said, Dad, I can't go back. You won't believe the torture I'm going through. I made it sound good. I said, Dad, this is child abuse. He said, no, you started it, and you're going to finish it. Oh, Dad, please. I didn't realize what soccer was. He said, well, why didn't you try to check it out before you wanted me to pay the fee and get you in, you get the jersey, the shoes, and all that nonsense? And I was the only guy out there with the shorts below my knees, but that was cool. And I said, Dad, I can't do this. He said, you will do it. You will finish. And you can bet we're going to make sure that you're at every practice. School is right across the street from my house. And we're going to make sure that you're at every game. I said, well, you probably won't be there. Oh, yeah, I'll be there watching you play. I went to the coach and I went to the coach about the 4th or 5th practice. I said, are we going to have cuts here? He said, no, we don't cut anybody. I said, yeah, we got like 25 guys. He said, believe me, you're going to need a rest. Is there any way I can play an easy position? He said, well, you can be the goalie. I'll do it. Worst decision of my life. Dad, Mom, sitting right on the front row. Balls just going right past me. I was not very tall in 4th or 5th grade. And that net seemed, I couldn't even start, it was crazy. But he said, you're not going to quit. And you know what? If you're going to fight this fight, don't quit. You know what? It's not going to be all, easy. It's not going to be just the way you want it, but don't quit. He doesn't, he doesn't need us, but he wants us to fight for him. There are plenty that will quit. Plenty that quit this morning. Sitting at home, spending in the fireplace, they should be in church. They quit. Hopefully they didn't quit for good. But John Brady has not quit. He's very sick. Very sick. I think he's finally figured out, 74 years old, you don't need to be out there messing with those almond trees every day of his life. Pray for him. He's very sick. If you don't come to the wagon, he's sick. I know he's sick. He hasn't been there for quite some time. Anybody can quit. It takes a real man or a real woman to hang in there and say, well, number 3, do you need reviving? Oh, in this fight you're going to need reviving. And I sent and I have the list on my bulletin board of the Ledbetter Revival. We finished it up this last week. I sent them the final list. And if you're a Ledbetter groupie, I'll give you a copy of that list. You can call them all over the state. I told her last year, I said, I'm really not one of your groupies. And she said, you're not really sure? I said, to be honest, I'm not. But if some of you are, that's fine. But do we need reviving? Yes, we do. That's why, we're going to have a revival. We're going to have a revival with the Ledbetters. They're going to be here the first week of March. They're waiting till Morgan has a baby. And in the last part of January, they're going to have a couple doctor visits. They're going to be out here. They're going to be out here all the way through June the 15th. They wanted me to narrow it down a little bit. If I could shave them off, I couldn't. Everybody and their brother wanted them, which is good because you know what? People see that they need revival. And you know what? They don't bring in their suitcase, they don't bring in their sound equipment, they don't bring in their drum set or anything like that. They just, when they come, you know what? They're following what God has asked them to do. And you know what? And they need revival, and we need revival. And through them seeing people saved, let me tell you something that does something for you. And it's always a good revival. But you know what? The Bible says in Psalm chapter 85, verse 6, will thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee? Revive us and to live another day in the Lord. Help us to look to you for our needs. Help us to be honest to ourselves in serving you. Help us to be real in our faith and not allow anything or anybody to weaken our faith. Keep our spirit revived to make to make it so no matter what Satan does, we are able to fight against him. He is around us, every corner is trying to stop us. In Matthew chapter 7 and verse 15, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are raving wolves. They are as raving wolves. We've all heard that. A wolf in sheep's clothing. And they're everywhere. He can't stand it that you and I are living for God. The devil can't stand it. The devil can't stand it that God has given you a drink of this living water, which you may never thirst of again. He has revived us, and so that God has revived us so that we can be all we can be for Christ. The devil knows that you are serious, or he knows if you're serious or not. He watches you, and he can tell. Just like your family, they can tell if you're serious. Most of all, God can also tell if you're just following the crowd or if you're serious. God can tell. God knows. I was at a meeting in Santa Clara, about the 4th or 5th meeting we went to. And a wild man from Ohio, pastor, was there. And he'd preach before lunch, and he'd always have an illustration. One time he had a big tube TV up there, the whole cabinet, and busted it out with a sledgehammer, talking about not to be watching television and all that nasty stuff that's on the man alive. How far have we went since then? But he brought up a chair. It was a big high back chair, wooden chair. And he had all these wires to it and everything. And he had a little podium like this that they rolled out next to the chair. And then he said, now what we're going to do is, we're going to have you come up here, we're going to have you sit in this chair. And so he had a volunteer. Pastor Trieber went up. Sat in this chair, brother. They put the thing on it. It looked official. It looked real. They put his arm, he held onto these things, and he said, now what this is going to do is then I fire it up. And he hit some buttons, and it just sounded like a computer, in the old times. And he said, now what we're going to do is we're going to see what you thought about all last week. Whoa, Brother Trieber jumped up and said, wait a second. I don't want to be in that chair. He said, could I have another volunteer? He called out names. Every guy he called out looked down. Nobody wanted to be in that chair. Nobody wanted everybody to see what they thought. What went through their mind last week. And I thought, he said, well, even though we had Pastor Trieber up here, and he did have it on, we got enough information, we're going to go ahead and show it. Oh, these guys, they came up and they held him back and they showed it. And it was a picture of his wife. Picture of his children. It was just nice pictures. He said, we're lucky we didn't have it on any longer. We might have got the really juicy stuff. But you know what? The devil knows if you're serious or not. God knows if you're serious or not. If you're just playing church this morning, God knows that. And you know what? The devil knows that because he watches you. He's got his little imps out, little demons, whatever you call them. They're everywhere, and they're watching you, and they're taking notes, and they know if you're legit or not, and they know if you're real or not. And God knows it too. That's the thing. I can care less if the devil knows about me, but I don't want to hurt God. I don't want to break God's heart. I don't want to bring a tear to God's eye, to the corner of his eye, when he sees something that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing. And the thing is, most of the time when we do something we should be doing, we know better, and we're telling ourselves the whole time before we get into it, I should be doing this, man, why am I doing this? I don't want to hurt God, and then we give in to the devil and we do it. Well, number 4. You need replenishing this morning. The Bible says in Psalm chapter 23 and verse 5, Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. You need replenishing this morning so your cup starts to run over. God can replenish your life. He wants to help you. He wants to help you. God, we need to step back and let God in our lives. Let him take control. God knows what's best for you and for your family. He will reestablish the call upon your life to live for him. Sometimes we get complacent. Sometimes we just get, I'm going to church today. No big deal. Yeah, he'll say something funny. He'll say something sad. He'll say something good. He may say something bad. But I'm just going to go through the motions today, just because it's something I do every Sunday. You know what? That's something I do every Sunday too. So whenever I sit down and I'm reading through God's Word, earnestly looking for something, I got 2 messages this morning I brought off of what Brother Jeff was talking about that I'm going to put together this week. Don't ever get to where it's just something you do. You need to stay where it's something I'm glad I'm able to do, because you know what? There's people that can't do it. There's people in other countries that can't do it. There's people that hide out, and you know what? They may have 4 or 5 pages of the Bible, and they have it memorized, you know, and they just, because it's against the law. You know why, in my opinion, why China hasn't taken us over? Because we're the only people that buy all their stuff. Look at half the stuff you have, made in China. Well, who would they sell it to if they took us over? And you know what? I think they know that at any point in time they probably could, because they've got people upon people upon people upon people. Thank God that He has His hand upon this country so far. He will establish the call upon your life to live for Him. Reestablish. He knows that sometimes we get weary and we wonder if we're going to make it or not. He never blinks. For He knows that we can make it if we'll just not give up. Galatians chapter 6 verse 9. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. And you know what? Due season is not too far away. We shall reap if we faint not. I thank God that Paul pinned that verse down, because he knows sometimes it gets hard, but we can make it. He knows sometimes we're up against the ropes and the devil is just beating the stuffing out of us. We can make it. What if Jesus wouldn't have went through Samaria? What if He wouldn't have stopped at this well? What if He had never spoken in this moment? She would not have known about Him or about the living water. What if God hadn't spoken to you? What if you never came to this church? What if you had never received the living water? You wouldn't be on your way to heaven. You'd be gone for hell. God wants to replenish His will in you so that you will live for Him. Live for Him until your dying day. The last thing I want to know before I leave this life is that I have God in my heart. And that the next face I'll see will be the face of God Himself. I don't want to go through life knowing I could have done something and didn't. And that's what's going to be. That's what's going to happen to thousands upon millions of people. They're going to stand before God, and the ones that knew about it, just had an idea about it, and then He's going to say, "Depart from me." You know what? They're going to say they've done something. It is real. And you know what? The thing I've told people before. You know, let's just say that the Bible's not true, and the Bible's all, you know, and heaven's not a real place, and God's not even there. Let's just say, okay, that's fine. You have nothing to lose. But you know what? I believe the Bible is the truth, the Word of God. I believe that God is real and that God is in heaven right now. I've got nothing to lose, but you've got everything to lose. Why won't you just give in to Him? Why won't you just accept Him? Why won't you just follow His will for your life? Because you know what? You have everything to lose. But if you accept Christ, you have everything in this world to gain. Because you have Jesus. Man, sometimes I get frustrated with people. I go and I talk and I try and take a different angle. I try, you know, whatever the case may be, but you know, it's tough. It's tough. Just like I was at a guy's house and he had a little girl, but Elena's age. That is your daughter's name, correct? Elena's age, and I said, I walked back and I'm scared of her. I walked back. This is what I did. I said, "Hi, Elena. How are you, sweetheart? How are you?" And I held this child. And the dad was standing right there. And I said, "What if you died right now?" I said, "This dad. And what if Elena died right now?" I said, "If you don't have Jesus in your heart, you can be separated from her for eternity." And the child was trying to get back to the dad. And I said, "Wait a minute. I had some candy in my pocket because I had it set up. I had to go a different angle. And I said, I give the child some candy, and they were content. I said, could you imagine that? Going through life, separated from this child that you would give your life for. And Dad stood there and said, I don't know if I can handle that. I said, well, then what's stopping you from accepting Christ right now? And I started walking away with the child. The child was content. I got about this far from the father. I said, if you never got any closer than this to your child ever again, how would you feel? And Dad started, tears started running down his face. He said, I couldn't stand it. I said, if she took her last breath, there was a little boy, I said, if he took his last breath this morning, or right now, and went off to be with the Father, I said, he was in heaven. If you took your last breath right now, I said, where would you go? And he said, I don't know. I said, I think you know. Where would you go? And he said, I don't think I'd go to heaven. I said, could you imagine? That's exactly how it's going to be. You're going to be separated from those that know Jesus if you don't know Him for the rest of your entire life. That person is going to be just out of hand's reach for the rest of your entire life. I know the story about the rich man and Lazarus, how they saw. I don't know if that's the way it's going to be or not. Probably, maybe not. Maybe so. But can you imagine being in hell and every time you look up and see that child just out of hand's reach because you chose not to follow God. You chose not to get this living water that we were talking about this morning. How would you feel if that was you? What would you do? I probably wouldn't want to look up, but you love that child more than anything in life itself. You want to make sure that child's okay. Even knowing that child would be okay, you would never be able to reach that child again. How would you feel? Live for Him until your dying day. The last thing I want to know is I have Jesus in my heart. You know what? I don't want to go through this life without having Him. What a waste of time. Don't waste your time. Live for Jesus and stay thirsty. Go ahead, Jeff. Let's stand together for a moment.